Hello Cancer, thank you for joining me for your weekly forecast for week commencing the 22nd of October. The Sun moves into a glorious location for you on Tuesday. This is going to help you to feel more vigorous, more energised and more outgoing. Now Venus, the planet of love, has of course been in this location for some while, but has been tracking backwards. Now this has come to a close, but it is going to be meeting the Sun at the heart of this week. If there was an opportunity to go out and be playful and sociable, or even go on a date, this would be a fine time to do it. But the invitation may come rather unexpectedly, or upset previously laid plans, and you may find yourself having to make some last-minute changes. Perhaps a friend's going to surprise you. Someone in your social circle may be more attracted to you than you're quite aware of. Then again, if you're in a long-standing relationship and it's become a little bit too home or domestic-based, you may want to give yourself permission to be a bit more of a free spirit, to meet up with friends, to do some more sociable or playful strands. And that could be a very positive thing to do. This, of course, may have some kind of cost implications, but don't feel too hemmed in. I think the more you can break out and do something constructively, especially with one other person, with Venus forging a great link with Saturn, a relationship that's really secure and stable, but at the same time friendly, can certainly be very positive for you in the latter part of this week. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Cancer. I'd love it if you would like or comment on this video, or if you've yet to do so, please do subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Hello Cancer, thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for October for the Sun or the Ascendant. The month kicks off with the Sun and Mercury, the planet of communication, in the part of your scope that's to do with security, but it's also to do with your environment. It's also to do with your emotions, to do with family life, and just really feeling comfortable. And there is a quarter moon on the 2nd in your zodiac sign, in Cancer, which squares up with the Sun in Libra. This 4th, 7th energy from the vernal equinox, but from your sign is 1-4, suggests that if something does feel a bit out of kilter in terms of those areas, your personal feelings around this may need to engage in the situation a bit more. I think your feelings are going to be closer to the surface. Someone around you may be a bit moody, maybe a bit tricky to deal with even, but try to engage with them. Now, of course, Venus, the planet of love and affection, is in the most glorious part of your situation in the sign of Scorpio, your sister water sign. But you probably have some awareness, if you're really keen on astrology, that Venus goes into a retrograde on the 5th and is going to be doing so in the sign of Scorpio right through to the end of October. Is this a challenge? Quite frankly, yes, especially as far as your love life is concerned. It's also possible that in terms of your financial situation, if you're someone who's a bit more speculative and entrepreneurial, that there could be some kind of trim back in your situation, or your circumstances may evolve in a way where creativity doesn't flow quite as easily as you would like. And one of the reasons for this is that Venus is going to be clashing with Mars for the first 2 weeks of this month. Now, of course, these two are the duo of love. Venus is the more nurturing, feminine side of relating, and Mars is very much the more masculine, hustle-bustle, sexy side of relating, if you like. But Mars for you continues in the sign of Aquarius, which is very passionate, and it's really a fantastic location if you are wanting to have intimacy or to get closer to someone where the relationship is working well. But if there is a relationship which isn't working so well, and this may have been evoked in some part by Uranus's square with Mars, which went on broadly from the 2nd week of May through till just about the end of last month. That was a real tricky one if it meant that your individuality or your future plans seemed to be compromised by any involvement. Now it's slightly more complex because there's a yearning in you And in fact, Venus square Mars could actually make you feel much more amorous. But it's being amorous in the right situation with the right person, of course. If you don't feel comfortable in a relationship, I think Venus retrograde and the fact that the Sun and Mercury are in a more thoughtful location where you can feel more sensitive and more needing of someone who has similar skills to you, skills of nurturing, of sensory perception. The moon that you have helps you to be receptive, your ruling planet, your guiding light, reception. The Sun is very much about protection. So the receptiveness you have means that with the Sun in this tender zone, you want someone to be protective of you. If they're not, they're out of kilter, the humour doesn't quite blend with yours, they're a bit possessive or jealous. That kind of stuff is not going to go down well with you this month. I've got to be honest. But Mercury does move on the 10th into a much better area for you. It moves into Scorpio, and this is an opportunity for you to feel more outgoing, more playful. But on the 9th, there is a new moon. Now, this new moon is going to be a platform for improvements around your home, family, emotional life. But it is forging a quincunx with Neptune, the planet of dreams, which has been giving you an awesome amount of extra imagination since 2012, and a desire to be more expressive, to embrace the arts, photography, film, travel, anything which really stirs your senses. The combination of these two doesn't work quite so well, because something that's very important to you in terms of your emotion can take on an almost heightened sensitivity, which can actually diminish your sense of security and perhaps even the foundations of your world. So Neptune, the swirling mist that can distort at times, suggests that if you are talking anything through or thinking about anything, as far as the family or your emotional health is concerned or situation, facts are absolutely crucial, really. So this takes us through to the 16th. And then we have another quarter moon, but this is in your opposite sign of Capricorn. Of course, in Capricorn, you still have Saturn and Pluto. Now, just to let you know, Mars, although it was that aggravant with Uranus right through to the end of last month, it forges a fabulous angle to Pluto in the last 10 days of this month. If you are a business person and you're a real go-getter, if you forge a tie with someone you really click with and you can understand each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you almost have a soul connection, there is something you can achieve of major note in the last third of this month, when your thrust and determination can be absolutely amazing. However, the quarter moon is suggesting to you that when it comes to your relationships with people, it's going to be very important to listen carefully. Although you feel things very often, you're not necessarily someone who finds it easy to talk things through, because you like to reflect and protect. And sometimes that more crab-like response to things can see you a little bit closed. It's not a criticism, a little bit tender about expressing how you feel, because you may feel that that points towards confrontation. But of course, Pluto has been giving you a bit of a push around that since 2008 to not stand up for situations which don't suit your purpose, to lay down your markers about what is and isn't acceptable. And since last December the 20th, Saturn has been reinforcing that principle, making you perhaps even more guarded about who can be good for you and who isn't good for you as far as relationships are concerned. So I think this quarter moon is going to bring up a bit more of that stuff about relationships are the most important area of life for us all, but it's about having the right ones. That doesn't mean to say that they're perfect. It's the ones where people will enter into a spirit of give and take, where there is enough trust to have an openness, to accept that sometimes with some people, the way we come across jars, to accept that, to not take it personally, to actually enter into more dialogue, to try to create greater understanding. But sometimes, because you're a cardinal sign, and because you do need to protect yourself, you can withdraw to the point that that makes it very difficult for people to relate to you, because all the signals are you want to close people out. which is a very reactive response. So if you can be positive, do be, because the most exciting thing that's going to happen this month for you is that on the 23rd, the Sun moves into Scorpio and then meets the retreating, the retrograde Venus. When these two are together, it's going to raise your love dynamic to a new high. However, ironically, they are both going to be in opposition with Uranus. Uranus, the planet of surprises, the planet which has been emphasising your need for independence, to be a free spirit, to be attracted to more unusual people who stimulate you. Any relationship which is dull probably isn't going to hang around too much in your life beyond November this year, but next year, from the 6th of November through to 2026, Uranus is going to be in your 11th solar house all of that time, which points towards even more radical people coming into your world, people who in the past may not have been your cup of tea. But to facilitate this, you have to work on your sensitivity. If your sensitivity is stopping opportunities flowing towards you, then that's something to keep practicing on. I have, in my draconic chart, the Sun in Cancer. I also have Venus and the Moon here. So I'm a very Cancerian person. Also in my natal horoscope, my tropical nativity, I have Venus and also the Moon, the IC and Chiron all in the 4th house, which is very Cancerian. So I really get this stuff, to be honest. I can really tuck myself away and retreat if things aren't easy. But it's about engagement. And the Sun with Venus opposite Uranus can create some engagement. It could be spontaneous, it could be exciting, it could be challenging, but it won't be dull. But you know, there's something else. Because these are obviously in fixed signs. Venus and Scorpio, along with Mercury, along with Jupiter, all in Scorpio, which just happens to be good for you because your 5th solar house, personal expression, joys, happiness, children, playfulness, artistry, love. Uranus in Taurus, fixed, which for you is very much about friendship, longer term perspectives, higher aspirations, a very Aquarius influence, if you like. But dissecting these across the axis is the nodal axis of the North Node, the point of destiny in Leo, and also the South Node in Aquarius. So we have a grand fixed cross, and this could cause some issues, quite frankly. And it could be around values, it could be around money, it could be around a business arrangement which isn't working very well. So Uranus could tease out of a relationship, along with Venus's retrograde, something that just ain't working. And this is going to be emphasised even more on the 26th, when the full moon, which occurs in Taurus, is going to be conjunct Uranus. So even though you're someone who can be cautious, you're brilliant at marshalling resources, there are few better managers of anything than Cancer people. But it could be that something needs to change in your situation. Some kind of fresh air needs to pour in. There needs to be a discussion. There needs to be a reset based on how the world is now, not how it was when you were a kid and mother's little messages came in, or father's too, or other experiences which have coloured your outlook and your conditioning. It's a time for an upgrade, because otherwise, if you don't have that upgrade around your values, that's not going to feed into a sense of fulfillment around your relationships. It's that important. Also, as the month comes to a close, Mercury hops into its point of detriment. It moves into Sagittarius. And just so you know, Venus is retrograding to such a point, on the first day of November, it's going to move into Libra, so it's inversing that much, and that's going to re-emphasise the more emotional side of relationships. Now, Mercury moving into Sagittarius is very much about logic. It's about taking any creativity you're generating and forming it in a way which can give you some kind of tangible reward, but it's also about getting to grips with the finer points, not being so caught up in the flamboyance of any creativity that you may have. It's how you can actually make it work, the nitty-gritty, if you like. And of course, I'll tell you more about that for October's forecast. So though you may read or hear a lot about Venus retrograde, yes, it's going to be influential, but there are also opportunities. But I think those opportunities do depend on you being open to change, quite honestly. We all need to be open to change. Pluto's in your sector of change around relationships. Saturn's in your sector of relationships when it comes to the structure of your life, and perhaps resistances within you or from others, obstacles, but sometimes opportunities if we have the courage to really embrace things. So it's such an exciting month in lots of ways, but I think it is a lot about relationships for you, quite frankly, more emotional relationships, and then more playful, more social ones too. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Cancer. I'm still battling away with the rheumatoid arthritis, and I have to say, I had to go on a course of steroids because the pain had got to the point, it was just incredible. I am so grateful for all the kind messages that have been sent in, the support, the encouragement, and also the suggestions for natural remedies. And I am embracing some of these really actively, and some are showing some real promise. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being with you. I'd love it if you would like or comment on this video. If you've yet to do so, please do subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Hello, thank you so much for watching my video. I'd love you to join me at my Horoscope Ace app. You can find this at www.horoscope-ace.com. You can use it through Android, iOS, Apple or Facebook. Check out your ascendant or your moon sign or download your free birth chart. There's all your favourite videos, plus there are daily, weekly, monthly and yearly horoscopes for general, love, Chinese and Indian astrology. If your passion is tarot, there's my brilliant 3-card money or love tarot readings too. And it's all there at www.horoscope-ace.com. Thank you.